There is some truth in the saying that the best things in life are unplanned. I went to Crunchyroll Expo. It wasn't something I was planning on doing until 2 months before the event. This is a story of the events that led to this and the experience at the con. If you're only interested in the latter, here's the timestamp in which I start talking about it. It'll also be on the description. Around June, the thought occurred that I wanted a vacation on my birthday week. I haven't had a chance since I started this new job, and at first I didn't know what to do. I asked colleagues around about ideas for internal tourism. Then, on break one day, I read a promotional tweet from the Crunchyroll Twitter account about their expo and the dates, August the 25th to the 27th. I first read about this announcement some months ago, but wasn't thinking of attending. All I wanted was some time away to relax. Like pieces of a puzzle, it all started to come together. Wouldn't it be nice if I could attend the event? After some pondering, I decided to just follow my feelings and go. Since I just had a credit card approved and some decent savings to boot, the choice was made all the more easy. The first thing I bought were the plane tickets. I haven't flown since the year 2000 and had no idea how the experience had evolved. It was both unnerving and exciting at the same time. I made a conscious decision to travel on my own. I rejected Dad's offer to accompany me. I wasn't going to meet with friends. I have no family in California, and if something were to happen to me, I'm on my own. Heavy stuff for someone who hasn't traveled alone, but hey, there's always a first time for everything. Next, the hotel. I don't know much about the hospitality business sales itself, but I wanted one thing: free food. A lot of hotels close to the venue didn't have a buffet or complimentary breakfasts or dinners. Not spending money on food because it came with the package? Hell yeah, I wanted that. I ended up staying at the Embassy Suite. Breakfast was covered, and there were a number of choices around to eat, hotel, restaurant included. It was alright. There was a manager's reception in the evening, but it's mostly to consume alcohol. I sure wasn't in the mood to drink when I came back. I had no idea how the room looked either, but more on that later. Lastly, the event pass. It would be a shame if I booked the plane and hotel, but not the con pass. It looked like that'd be the case, but it was due to me waiting on the final guest list. I knew I wanted a VIP pass for the perks and goodies, but the guests were a deciding factor between it and the highest tier, VIP+. It took a month, and then a tweet came. That sealed the deal. I wanted Adam Savage's autograph. In retrospect, it was the best deal I could get at the time. I had trouble selecting the other 3 guests I like autographs from, so I went with recognition factor. Bad idea? I don't even know. Departure day arrived. A quick breakfast to get me ready for the 8-hour trip, a flight from Puerto Rico to Texas, then to California. Dallas's airport is huge. I didn't expect I would be taking a train to get to the connecting gate. It was chock full of stores as well. It was bewildering taking all of this in. Some hours later, I arrived at the San Jose airport. First thing I noticed once I got out was the nice weather. It was sunny, but I wasn't sweating. And as someone used to humidity, California's dry heat was a nice change and certainly more enjoyable. Included in the package's offering was a shuttle from the airport to the hotel and back. I waited for one for about 15 minutes before calling the hotel, only to find out they didn't offer the service. I was miffed. I had to take an Uber to the hotel. Earlier in the day, I received an email about a window on Thursday for those who wanted to pick up their badges at the venue. I arrived at about 5:30 local time. I wasn't going to let this opportunity pass. I left my stuff in the room and walked to the event. It's a 2-mile walk back and forth. How hard can this be? Boy, would that come back to haunt me later. More on this soon. After admiring the weather, I grabbed my pass, inquired about the hotel goodies, and I was back in before dinner. One thing I couldn't help being surprised at, the room was big. Sure, I expected a bed, but I didn't know I had a living room. While I barely used it, it was a nice addition. Friday morning. By this time, Hurricane Harvey threatened to make landfall in Texas on the weekend. I couldn't help feeling stressed when I realized my layover flight was in Dallas, and I had no idea if this was going to be a problem that needed solving at the last minute. Thankfully, the airline reassured me that my flight back had not been cancelled. Mom, who has traveled more than I have, let me know that all airports have hotels. If an emergency were to happen, I could rent a room there. It should be fine as long as I had cash on me, and fortunately, that wasn't a problem. I walked to the event like the day before, arrived an hour early, hoping to get some bearings on my surroundings. What are the points of interest? Main stage, exhibit hall, user stage, art gallery, Hime stage, autograph hall, CRX stage, Sudashi stage, and the artist alley. With that out of the way, I wanted to get into the exhibit hall. One of the perks of the VIP and VIP Plus pass was that I got early access to it. We were queuing at the main stage, electronic music blaring, and reassurance that we get entry before 1 PM. We did enter first, but it felt like there wasn't any lead over the premium members and the general public, because as soon as the last queuing VIP enter, the main hall doors open and it's open season. I made a beeline to the Crunchyroll Expo booth to claim a shirt exclusive to VIP pass holders and a lanyard I bought in advance. The queue circled the booth, it was crazy. Staff were doing their best to keep the line, but I don't think they anticipated the sheer volume of people. There was a staff member shouting out shonen lines while circling around, and I'll be honest, it felt awkward. I heard a hype man coming from the Aniplex booth right in front of the expo store talking about posters. In exchange for filling out a survey, we would be giving a poster from either one of 4 Aniplex properties. There was a Monogatari second season poster and a Sword Art Online ordinal scale poster. Can't recall the other 2. I wanted that Monogatari poster. Some 10 minutes later after queuing, the hype man mentioned that they ran out of Monogatari posters. With the survey completed, I reluctantly chose the Sword Art Online poster. Keep this in mind, for it would become an event in the future that I derive mild amusement from. I ran to the Sudachi stage to catch the first panel I wanted to attend, one about the localization process. I wasn't allowed to film this panel, unfortunately. And it is important to stick by the rules. The last thing I wanted was to become persona non grata on the first year. There was some interesting discourse in the questions and answers session. The people asking questions had either programming or subtitle timing backgrounds. While I can't recall specifics, the discussion boiled down to we gotta work with what we have or someone will replace us. A rather poignant statement. Thankfully, my thoughts on how Japanese businesses work is outside this video's scope. I sent a message to Elliot Trinidad, a Crunchyroll collaborator who I have regular conversations with, to see if we could meet up. He was busy all day hosting panels. One of those, Dream Daddy, got moved to 3:15. I didn't want to miss my chance at observing at a distance. I didn't have any intent of attending the panel at first, but you know, memes. Trinidaddy memes. Adam Savage time next. I left the Dream Daddy panel 15 minutes before the session, and already there was a huge line waiting for him. One of the good things about this session that wouldn't be repeated with the other 3 was a dedicated VIP line, and was I glad to be one. By the time I left, 3 hours after the session started, Adam was still there, signing autographs. While waiting, I talked with a Persona 5 Joker cosplayer and his friend. It seemed my accented English piqued their interest, which surprised me. I don't hear about people being interested in that, and I definitely noticed some odd eyes back at the airport when I attended to a Spanish telemarketing call. Anyway, the line started moving, I made small talk, grabbed an autograph, a picture, and got out of there. Next on the schedule, the Digibro vs Gigguk panel. I've seen some of the skirmishes these 2 YouTubers had, and it'd be hilarious to attend a panel where they roast each other face to face. Crunchyroll filmed the whole panel, and after some time deciding whether it was going to be uploaded in Crunchyroll's channel or Digibro's channel, plus an unofficial upload that was garnering somewhere close to 40,000 views as of recording, Crunchyroll gave the footage to Digibro, which he made available on his channel. I also managed to get some footage from the event from the front lines.
One of the strengths of Made in Abyss wasn't the animation to begin with, it was like... Animation was the biggest strength of the show.
I'd argue it was backgrounds too. I'd argue it was the art. Yeah. I'd argue it was not the animation, it was the art, which is two different things.
I think the art's gone downhill too.
Last
2 episodes they were in a fucking log.
Really? You think the art's gone downhill?
They were in like one location for 2 whole episodes. Episode 1, you've got them going all the way through all these beautiful landscapes. It looks like an RPG. If you haven't seen this show, seriously, even if the show turns out to be garbage, watch the first 3 episodes because they're beautiful. It looks like a Valkyrie profile or something. Like it's just this beautiful fucking. That's not good. That's not a good recommendation. Obscure PS1.
I had an hour to spare after the panel was over. It was around this time in which I introduced myself to Nate Ming, the customer support lead and an individual who I speak to on a regular basis. The setup was awkward, I thought. Figuring out the status of the hotel goodies I was supposed to receive, being back and forth between the VIP and the info desk. I was sent over to customer support's desk in order to find out more. I stated my case, they did some inquiries, and at the end, introduced myself. It was stupid to say something along the lines of personal privilege. At least he took it well. We made small talk, gave me his card in case my issue didn't get solved, and I went on my way. I wandered across the exhibit hall looking for things to buy. I bought a Megumin figurine and a Figma of the Persona 3 main protagonist this round. Earlier on, I bought some Crunchyroll Expo exclusive shirts and the physical version of the Persona 5 soundtrack. And speaking of Persona 5, the game was a big thing at Crunchyroll Expo, not only in the Artist Alley visit the following day. Cosplayers, merch, what have you. Even a prankster sent a calling card to Victoria Holding. Memes are eternal. The last 2 events of the day were a Digibro panel and the second signing session with 3 of the Final Fantasy XV voice actors. The former was a 40-minute Q&A live panel with his fans and followers called Digibro Before Dark. I didn't record footage of it and it wasn't necessary. The full video's on his After Dark channel. I found it hilarious that he was gifted a beer before the Q&A started. By his admission, he drank 4 beers with Gigguk prior to the Versus panel. I have reason to believe he was, at least, somewhat tipsy. I couldn't say if the panel was a train wreck or a masterpiece, as I left 15 minutes into it to queue for the autograph session. While waiting, I spoke to a man who was there because one of the voice actors voiced Junkrat, and apparently his autograph was the only one missing in a Overwatch art book he'd been collecting signatures of the cast. The man was fascinating to listen to, even if I don't care much for the game. Radio preparation, podcaster, runs a YouTube channel. We have similar backgrounds, although he was braver than me. If anything, the conversation made me realize I shouldn't be afraid of putting my content out there. Prints were being sold for the guests to sign. I should have bought one. Their signature on the mini Crunchyroll Expo poster felt cheap. It wasn't a money issue either, just that a majority of the prints didn't appeal to my aesthetic. Yet a Noctis one that was for sale looked awesome. I was ready to call it a day. I was hungry, tired, both backpacks were full of stuff, and my feet hurt. Remember the whole walking to the venue thing? Turns out Chuck Taylors are not walking shoes. It was a bad idea to walk to the event and would seek a hotel closer to the venue next year. Took an Uber back to the hotel. Saturday. The con started earlier and I was determined to take more pictures of cosplayers. To a degree, I did. The one I wanted the most was of a Dr. Eggman cosplayer I saw yesterday. There were lots of cosplayers as expected from the busiest day. The day started with a mini panel. Crunchyroll marketed these as CRX chats, panels lasting anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. I caught a list of a spirited display by Dallas Midao, head of Crunchyroll's manga division, on why manga matters. He went into the nitty-gritty of how manga influenced comic books throughout their history. This could have easily been a full panel, I feel. Given how many panels were on manga, some more important than this one, this was the best course of action. After that, the one I came for, becoming a fan of fandom. Adam Sheehan, director of events at Crunchyroll, shared his experience from countless years managing Expo presents, notably for Funimation, and why he comes back for more.
That's Captain America with a Saudi woman in Saudi Arabia going through cosplay. It's incredible. And seeing the people there, and seeing this in some videos and some other stuff they're talking about it, they see all the likeness between each other through fandom, through this culture. It was just amazing what it called, and this was one of the first things I noticed. Also cosplay helped. I discovered there was definitely a cosplay element across the board for pretty much everyone who were seeing it there. And I just wanted to share this photo because these Saudi women are sitting at this artist alley table that you could go down to the artist alley here at Crunchyroll Expo and see pretty much the exact same kind of thing. There's a universal community here between what we're doing. And if you look at the art, you actually kind of tell you might have bought something like that earlier today.
Right next door, the Anime Feminist panel. Lauren Orsini and Amelia Cook spoke on surviving the toxic side of anime fandom as a feminist.
My favorite is the next one though, because it's about you guys. Actually, if you're a complete predator, going to the above listed panel has a bunch of vulnerable people that can't think for themselves. For crazy people who can't get anyone else, that may qualify as a wife. That's you guys.
Here's to the audience.
And this is all very general at the moment, but it does get personal. So these are tweets I've received recently. Worst part about following anime feminists is not reading their opinions, but having to see their hideous selfies, my god.
Amelia, you need to stop forcing people to follow anime feminists, monitor that they're reading every word.
It's true, it's true. And actually, this isn't anime feminist. This is somebody who's following me individually and complaining about the selfies I post.
At times it felt like a pitch for AniFem, but at the end, I was convinced there can be a feminist discussion regarding anime and manga, and that I feel disgusted by men feeling within their right to attack women because they dare to have an opinion contrary to them. Digibro's autograph session was next. The queue was rather small compared to Gigguk's, who was at the booth next to him. A lot of ladies too. Remember that Sora Online poster I got from the Aniplex booth the day before? I had an idea. When my turn came up, I explained the story and asked him to deface the poster to give it some value. Yes, I actually said deface. He was happy to oblige. The first thing he did was draw devil horns and a Hitler mustache on Kirito. I could not contain my laughter. We took a picture and off I go. While I visited the Yoshitaka Amano gallery yesterday, I didn't have a chance to film. I was happy when I was told I could. Half gaming, half Hunter x Hunter. One rarely gets the opportunity to get this close to the original keyframes. While I didn't care much for the early Final Fantasy titles, the art was still breathtaking to watch. Sometime later, I don't have much to say on the influencer panel I attended prior. It's Jeopardy time! This is likely the panel, if it can be called that I enjoy the most. Jeff, Arkada, and Victoria were competing for bragging rights. At first, the projector didn't want to play nice with Miles' laptop. A room full of people were cheering when it worked and booing when it went out. It was hilarious. While the staff figured out what was going on, Victoria had the contestants play the Evangelion theme song on their kazoos. I didn't get footage of that, but Jeff's fiancé. As much as I would love to upload the full show, two things. The second half I was fighting with my stabilizer arm, so the footage isn't the best. And this needs to be experienced. If you're okay with a few best moments of the first half.
Palette for the movie Ghost in the Shell and
Shit!
Get it wrong. You never see this on a Saturday at 7 or a Friday at 7 p.m. That was a reference to an anime on Crunchyroll, Fastest Finger First. Thank you so much.
Which you can watch if you go to crunchyroll.com/Facebook.
Next, Tezuka was requested to serve the role as art director for this American film.
Miles really was a dick in college.
It is your choice. We are now done with anime from the 90s.
Can't I just do anime from the 90s for 600?
Or Victoria.
A white hippo-esque troll and his family star in this 1969 Tokyo movie, Shinja.
Oh my god, what's his name? I can draw him.
Do you want to draw him, actually?
Yeah,
I'll give you points.
What's his name? He's so cute. What's his name?
You have 4 seconds left.
I believe that what's his name is not a valid answer.
I mean, it's got the what is at least.
He's so cute and like he's like has a big face and he's like I know him. Anyway.
You just described him perfectly, but you're gonna lose those 500 points. I'm sorry, Victoria.
His name is
We'll give her a second. We'll give her a second. All right. Sorry, Victoria. I messed up. I apologize.
No.
This is a Miles mistake. I don't think any of you deserve 500 points for my errors.
Make up a question on the spot.
Yeah, make up a question. Go.
I get first dibs though.
Based on a series of novels by Ricky Kawahara, this... Jeff.
I don't want it.
What is the worst anime of all time? Sword Art Online.
Oh, and when everything looked like Jeff was going to win, Victoria gave the biggest upset, taking home the win. My feet were killing me at this point. I needed to sit down for an extended period of time. Well, also, I wanted to buy something I could have Arkada sign. He streamed Persona 5 earlier during the week and my mind went to that. There were no official prints available at the exhibit hall earlier. The lady I met yesterday at the Adam Savage autograph lane reminded me about Artist Alley, the perfect excuse to go. Elliot, in a response message, mentions he's browsing the alley when I was going to be there. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I wanted 1 print, I came out with 7. And I took a picture of a Futaba cosplayer. God is good. I didn't have the strength to go on. I went back to the exhibit hall to eat and wait until Arkada's session in 2 hours. I believe I did some more shopping at this time, namely Nendoroids. I had already met 2 of the 3 people I would have loved to meet during the expo. I should note, Victoria and Miles were up and down the venue. There was no way I could introduce myself properly. I reached out to Sam Wolf, one of the guys in the brand team I talked with, to see he would like to meet. He was filming a main event panel when all this happened. He exited briefly to say hi. What a nice fellow to talk to. Just like Nate, he was surprised at how far I traveled to be here. Barring some of the guests, I'm likely the attendee who has traveled the farthest. But hey, I'm just a guy who decided to make this his birthday gift. Arkada's session came up. I got there early, the 15th person in line. At lack of topics to bring up, I brought up the earlier Persona stream in small conversation. Apologized that I didn't follow the rule of backseat gaming because I couldn't bear watching him getting lost in the room before the boss in Haru's palace.
There we go. Okay, you motherfucker.
Strangely, I got an insight on why streamers have these kind of rules. It seems obvious, but most streamers aren't looking for help. They let you sit right next to them, but they still want to explore things themselves. Fair enough. I gave him one of the Persona 5 posters I bought for his signature, in which he wrote, "Go to bed," acting like Morgana. Well, that was random. I couldn't help but laugh. We took a picture and I was out of there. And that was Crunchyroll Expo for me. I dropped by Nate's booth to let him know that the hotel goodies situation was solved and to say goodbye. I was not looking forward to waking up at 3 AM the next day. Not only was I not going to spend Crunchyroll Expo's last day in California, but it was cold. 64 degrees Fahrenheit. I was shivering. As soon as the plane departed San Jose, I started crying. I couldn't get myself to stop. Despite knowing I would do this next year, despite not shedding a single tear at the gate. A flurry of emotions came in, all at once. I was crying on and off for over 30 minutes. I wanted Chick-fil-A when I got back to Texas, but I got lost at the gigantic Dallas airport. I didn't have time to waste. McDonald's it was. And I had to eat it at the plane since they were boarding by the time I got back. Lesson learned. I won't take a layover of less than 2 hours again, if I can help it. When I got back home to Puerto Rico, Mom mentioned the suitcase was wet. I didn't pay too much mind. It was raining in Dallas and the suitcase was insulated against water. However, when I opened up the suitcase, all the promotional stuff and 2 posters I was looking to put up had water damage beyond repair. Thankfully, the artists put their prints inside bags. I still have a respectable wall full of posters thanks to that detail. If there's something I regret, it's not staying for the full duration of the event. With better planning, it is something I aim to correct next year. And that's the story of how I spent an insane amount of money on a trip to California for an anime convention. Anime is trash. And so am I. Thank you for watching. Until next time, with nothing more to say, signing out.